All right, so I'd like to call over the May 21, 2025 meeting of Lower Southfield Township Board of Supervisors and ask everyone to join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That brings us to our public comment period. Is there anyone wishing to be recognized?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a quick announcement and thank the community for their support of Marlinsville Country Berries in advance of the event, which begins tonight. I heard a quote in earshot earlier yesterday that I thought was pretty appropriate, and it was a leader of several youth organizations saying the kids love this event. I look forward to it every year. It's one of the favorite things to do. So it's just great to have the community support, and thank you also to the township for the support that you have. Yeah. Okay. Of course.
Remember, there's no cool weather, just cool weather.
Really want to thank you.
I'm proud to do this for years. Every year, he's come to us before he was here, you know, to follow the plan. So we're thankful about that. People all here today. And now to the next generation. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Moving along, we'll take an approval of the work session minutes of April 16, 2025 and or May 6, 2025.
One correction. Last meeting. People. Where's that? The last page of the April one says ultimate rights of way. Well, okay. I will make a motion to approve, subject to that change for both sets of minutes. Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. Public Works Director, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Update on some projects, Bergie Mill Road Bridge. They had a little setback last week with the rain. So they were cleaning up, a little bit of a mess, yeah. Fortunately, it didn't crest the banks. So there wasn't any impact to any of their equipment or any of the materials that were on site there. So relatively minor, all things considered. So
Doug, is that still like full estimate?
I think they're a little behind from what they originally planned, but that's what their original projection was, sometime this year, at the end of this year, being completed. Okay. I haven't gotten an official update from either the contractor or the consultant that's doing the inspections.
Thanks.
I'll try to get something on that. Roberts Road Bridge, got an update from Montgomery County Roads and Bridges. They're progressing their final design. They're working on their environmental permitting. They're also looking to working to get construction inspection services in place. And they've started their right-of-way acquisition process. So hopeful by sometime this year to start work on that. The community center concept plan, the team met again last week with Barry Izett to review the second draft of their the site plan. Some minor comments and revisions that were discussed. So, excuse me, they're working on another revision of the plans, and we're meeting next Wednesday to just for a final look over in preparation for them to present, Boyle to present at the June 3rd work session. So we think we're getting close. So
Sounds good.
Yep. Some sidewalk, Main Street sidewalk project. Joe's in the process of scheduling a pre-con meeting with PennDOT on that project, and we're continuing to work on the sign relocation that's coming to a head at this point now. So
Resolved issue with small road.
I'm not exactly sure. Andy, do you know where that stands?
We're waiting to hear back from them
Okay.
on our recent offer after bids came. Hopefully getting close.
Some update on some grant projects, the Arley bike lane projects, contractors dancing around the weather. They started laying out for their shoulder edge lines last week. They started doing some of the final work this week. So, but again, we're in kind of a holding pattern now because of the weather. So, that work is progressing. If you recall, we applied for an America 250 PA grant. This was to install AEDs at several of our parks. Fortunately, we didn't get the grant. But the grant was really a minor part of the cost of the project. So the grant was $4,000, and we're looking at probably $7,000 to $8,000 per installation. We have 3 of the service organizations in the township that have verbally committed to participate in the project. It's the Lions, the JCs, and the Rotary. So we've had an internal discussion with staff, and our thought is that if the board is so inclined, we'd like to proceed with the project anyway, and then just get these installed. Good thing is the pressure's off, because there was a deadline of July something, I forget exactly the date, for the work to be completed, but if we have the commitment from the service organizations, and the township would basically fund the 4th of the 4 installations, then we could just move forward with that sometime in the fall. So if the board's agreeable to that.
We go over and get better ideas.
Careful.
Okay, thank you.
It's good to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Just some department activities. We dealt with some storm cleanup this week from last week's rain. I think we had 3 inches of rain in less than an hour, much less than an hour. So yeah, so it was really, it came up and then just went away just as quickly. So it was, so we had relatively little damage, just some flooding areas that we were dealing with, but nothing significant. The Fretz Road guide rail.
Around the Bridge.
I'm sorry,
Was there any flooding around the Overford Road Bridge?
none.
The design.
And it wasn't even, was not even close to flooding.
That's good.
Perfect.
So yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. So, yeah, good thing. Fretz Road guide rail, you all know we've been battling this issue for years with trucks that are hitting the guide rail as they're making the turn from Castle on to Fretz. I finally got in contact with the gentleman from PennDOT in their maintenance department that's handling the project, and he asked that we paint edge lines and possibly some gore area on the shoulder to try to encourage the trucks to stay closer to the center line. So that was done yesterday. So hopefully we'll see some positive result from that. But the guide rail is still damaged, so that still needs to be repaired. But
did they respond to your request to move the guide rail back?
they're looking at it. He told me that he was looking into the original design of the bridge to see whether it was constructed as designed. And I again reiterated that my thought is that the curbing needs to be adjusted back away from the roadway. I know there are guidelines that require the guide rail to be at the face of curb. Because they don't, I guess the thought is that you don't want a car hitting the curb before it hits the guide rail, because then it potentially could launch. So they're looking into it. So I think honestly, I think they were waiting for us to do this, the painting, the line striping, to see whether that solved the problem before they invested a significant amount of time and effort.
Anybody want to take a bet?
Anybody listening, please observe and follow up. I think it's been maybe a dozen times. Please, probably.
I was going back through aerial photos and I counted at least 8 times in the last 5 years. And that was, that's the problem. It's just, it's the trailers are getting with the trailer wheels as they're tailing, and it's not doing enough damage or any damage to the truck to require them to stop or to disable the vehicle. So it's just basically a hit and run with the guide rail, and they just keep rolling.
So if we have to.
Yeah.
We could at least go after them, and get some money to replace all.
PennDOT's relying on PennDOT.
Yeah, it's PennDOT's guide rail. I keep saying that, the amount of money they've spent in repairs on that guide rail, they could have easily made the corrections in the curbing.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully we're making progress. Dan Roth Park, spent a significant time at the park making improvements. So the pads have been poured, we've installed railing along the pond. The two umbrellas that we got from Supervisor Sharon's project, have been installed. Parking lot's been expanded, we're actually looking from, before we started all this, I think we had 27 parking spots, and once we're completed, we should have 40. So pretty significant increase in parking in that area, and it gets used every night. There's parking, and there's people that are using the pond, using the park and fishing. I was there last night and there was a half a dozen people fishing, at the pond, so it's good. Running into a little bit of a challenge with the lighting. Because our thought was that we would just use the existing wiring and the pole bases and for getting the donated light fixtures, and unfortunately it's not working out that way. We've had Higgins come out and try to figure out the electric, and they're just inconsistent. It's 40-year-old wiring that's in the ground, so we're basically just going to start over, and then we'll do wire, new conduit, new light pole bases, and then use the lights that were being donated. So working on that. I'm going to be doing some repairs to the parking lot. The base has some issues. And then we're going to pave the existing trails around the walking path around the pond. So that's that project. Yoder Road widening, as part of the bike lane project. There's that section of Yoder Road between Flint and East Woods that, right there where the wooded area is, that it's narrow. So we're going to extend the shoulder, widen that. We're taking some trees down. We're going to pave that in, do some repairs to the roadway in the process, and then have that bike lane connect to the existing trail system right there at East Woods. Our base repair contract, work's going to start next Tuesday on Camp Wawa Road. So road will be closed except for emergency vehicles and bus traffic, and obviously residents that live there. Then we're going to move to Morris Road, and that's between Moyer and Quarry. Repairs there. That road is going to be resurfaced this year. And then finally move, if we have money left in the budget, it's going to move to Schlosser Road on that. So that will be all next week. We're going to put our message boards out. Grace do the notifications, and so everybody is aware of what's going on. Lastly, on a personnel front, we have a full complement of summer employees this year, and part-timers. So we also have a young man that's interested in full-time work. He's still in high school. So he's comes highly recommended. He's well-known. So the thought is that we bring him on as a summer employee as a test trial run, and see how he performs and see if there's compatibility. And then we move forward from there in the fall if appropriate. So if everyone's very good. That is all that I have. Thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir. Our vehicle replacement plan, we had 2 vehicles that could have been replaced this year. There were subsequent conversations with Joe in Freedom Valley that they were looking for a truck, and that was one of the vehicles that was up for rotation. So we'll be donating our 14 Dodge Ram. Got about 110,000 miles on it, but had a new engine at 70,000. So it's a pretty good condition for what they're going to use. And it's the right kind of truck for their purposes. So we have a new F-150 that is in. It is painted in a subdued condition, and you'll see the markings at night, reflective, but it'll be good for the traffic officers to be checking problem areas. The lights are internal, so it's somewhere, it's a new experiment with us. The cost was about the same. Actually, it was less to put the internal lights in or any overhead. It is marked and it's over for upfitting. And Hayden will have to get some of the equipment out of the truck. And then we'll get it to Freedom Valley probably within a month or so. They're happy. We're happy.
Good. With Freedom Valley, we just make sure it's documented the value of the donation and where that donation came from, where contributing to assets to the town, our township. Yeah.
But we'll try to get a better number. Corey was looking at municipal bid and ballpark was 10 to 12 for additions and files, et cetera. So we can try to get something, Kelly Blue Book or something, get a closer number for Joe. The other thing, we've been talking about the license plate readers. There was a stop, all the equipment is, the cameras are installed, but there was a contract discussion between the vendor and the county that was resolved last week. So I'm told within weeks, they're actually gonna plug it in. But it's ready to go, and then we'll get an update, once it's up and running. But it looks like we're moving forward. That's all I have.
Any questions for the chief? All right. Building and zoning this week.
Mr. Chairman, we have 49 permits that were issued so far this month. We, at the upcoming planning commission meeting, we're gonna be looking at a few land development projects, one of which is a long-standing land development project, Clemens Mill, which is at the 531 address. Actually, 531, 537, 545, those three parcels are together, Clemens Mill. It's a set of twin homes that are proposed, and it's been an ongoing land development in the township, so they're back on the agenda.
They've had a number of issues on that project. They just sort of keep showing up and don't resolve the issues. So we still in that same loop.
Well, hopefully not.
Okay.
Hopefully we're at the end of it, but yes, we're in that loop right now. We'll see when they present to the planning commission if they resolve it. 130 Christopher Lane is going to come back with a revised plan, revised to meet some of the comments from the planning commission. And 488 Hartleyville Pike, Durstein Farm is also back on the agenda. They've resubmitted to address the comments as well. We're also going to be talking about waiver of land development for small project threshold discussion. It's been popping up every now and then, and we just need to solidify the thoughts and come up with an actual measurable threshold, square footage, percentage, something like that. So we're going to be talking about that, see what the planning commission has to say about that. Okay. The upcoming board of supervisors meeting that you have in a couple of weeks, we have a few hearings, two of which are the village commercial zoning ordinance tax amendments. That hearing will happen, and then the right-of-way amendment hearing will also happen. And Southford Mennonites Pavilion at 480 Grossman Road, that conditional use hearing is also on the agenda. And the PP&L representative is going to be on the agenda. She is going to make a presentation regarding so her name is Jessica Mickelson. She's the senior right-of-way agent for PP&L. And as I discussed in a previous work session, their PP&L is going to be replacing the poles, the towers that go throughout the township. They're doing that through the entire line through multiple municipalities. And she's going to do a brief presentation at your June 4 meeting to go over some of those details and any questions that township might have.
Are they asking us to restate any of the easements that we have through a property? I know they're trying to get away from the no-build lines to a more defined easement. Is that also part of this discussion?
Yes, and actually, I think Andy might be able to.
Yeah, they are.
Further.
They have amended easement documents that they provided to us. As you know, the current easements are 100-foot wide, and then there's a 50-foot no build on each side. They're basically getting rid of that configuration, going down to 150-foot wide. The only thing that changes from a practical standpoint is it actually increases their area by 50 feet within which they clear shrubbery and trees. But other than that, everything essentially stays the same.
Does it affect our ability though? 'Cause I know Pico,
It
it's different, it affects trails and other things, sometimes they get real icky about having. And then we have a number of parks that these easements go through, does it affect our ability to do any improvements in that additional area of right of way that they're taking that was previously just a building, setback issue?
I'll take another look at the amendment, but initially I don't think so. I think we actually are gaining 50 feet back of that no-bill setback.
But the building's only related to vertical structures,
Right, yeah,
whereas if we're losing the ability maybe in that no build area, we can still put trails, just make sure we
Yeah.
clarify. And I think they'll probably be agreeable to,
Yeah.
if we need that accepted out, to at least have that overtly stated, so that we just don't, because I think it's particularly, heckler and whatnot, with the trails we already have. Yeah.
we have the amendment, so I'll take another look at
Okay.
it, make sure we're not, stuck.
Yeah.
There.
It's trails and, potential ball fields in that area that for future. Is that,
That we would consider construction, but it's not a building per se.
right,
Nothing vertical.
Stormwater basins.
Yep, that's all I have.
Any questions for? Mike? All right, moving on, Mr. Duchesne.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item on the manager's report is a motion to approve Fire Police Assistant Document Night Academy for their annual barbecue, which was this past weekend. So this is a retroactive, just to keep everybody on board, crossing our T's and dotting our i's.
I so move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Sister.
Okay, the next item is the Communications Committee Resolution Amendment. I think your package was an updated resolution provided by Mr. Freeman at Shelley's request. So I don't know if Mr. Shelley, do you want to talk about?
Sure. As we discussed before, we're a purpose, that's what the idea of possibly having associate members who people attend these meetings. We discussed this, we brought on to other committees possibly in the future. So we did write this up. One thing that Andy did point out to me with the original document, which you can see the resolution, probably a few months in when I wrote it, but putting it together, one thing that I did have is residents. At one point, and Andy, if you want to touch this as well, it does say the term of each resident and or business member. And when I did write this, I looked at other townships, put it all together, that's something that he said we might want to discuss first, so I wanted to get a board's opinion on this before tonight's meeting with the Communications Committee. But the hope is that, whether you specify for me personally, I'll leave it up to the committee, whatever the committee feels they want to keep it for business members as well. But the basis is we want to make sure we get this associate members before the board sometime in the future. We do have a member who attends as associate member. So it seems like up there now, Mr. Carlson, so that could be great to get him officially as well. And once we do that, I plan on writing it back to people who are originally. As I can tell, this is something that.
Yeah, I would just say the only question is if you want business members in addition to just residents, you just need to make the language match up. If you just want residents, not business members, then we'll track it that way.
As I said, I'll take any feedback to the meeting tonight and get the feed from the committee and then update everybody.
I can see that, the same business members being associate members, they could be great conduits, especially with our, elderly home people, they from there will get involved, I mean, that it would be a benefit, not a loss.
Yeah, and that was honestly absolutely premise when we're putting this together, we did have interest, but we wanted to make sure we expanded the residential facilities, whatever that maybe business members did to like action stuff. So I'll pass that on to the committee, okay, and see what they want to get back to everybody with that.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, the next Junior Supervisors Program update, Mr. Shelley informed me that This will be rescheduled to the June 3rd meeting as there was a conflict with the students.
There was a rescheduled school event that I got that last night, so it's, you know, that happens. However, there was going to try to make it to reserve, it has some school events, so they do have both young women are interested and very excited to be involved, so. Very appropriate.
We do need an executive session, but I have no further business under the.
Thank you very much for coming out to satisfy one of your American requirements. Making it to an early morning meeting is a good struggle, and thanks to Mom for making it possible for you to come, so.
It's good to see you. So the executive session is about a real estate with no intention to. That's correct. With that, something else? Second. Move the second and all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.